Hey guys, it's Megan, and in today's video, I'll be showing you how to make your own merch. I've really been loving these wavy text hoodies that I've been seeing on Pinterest lately. I made this project using my Cricut Maker 3. Thank you so much to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. Cricut is a smart cutting machine that allows you to create personalized projects with hundreds of different materials. It works with a software called Design Space, which comes free with your machine. This is where you can create your projects and browse hundreds of images and fonts. Once you've created your design, Design Space will send it to your machine to cut, and you'll have a professional looking project in no time. I love my Cricut. There are so many things that you can do with it. If you want to see more projects that you can make with Cricut, make sure to check out the playlist that I've linked below. I'll have all the products that I used linked as well. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Step 1 is to create your design. Like I said before, you can find hundreds of images in Cricut Design Space to use. I actually found a few that were pretty similar to what I was looking for, but I wanted to make my own, so I used the Procreate app on my iPad to create my designs. I made my canvas 3000 by 4000 pixels at 300 dpi. Now go up to the wrench tool, click Add Text, make sure that it's highlighted, click this part up here, and choose your font. I used a font called Keep On Truckin' from dafont.com. Then click the keyboard and type out your saying. For this one, I wrote "Everything will be okay," and I wrote it in all caps. Double click the text to select it again. Click the font, then use this slider to change the size of the text. This is kind of annoying because you can't really see your canvas while you're doing this. If anyone knows more about Procreate than I do, if you know how to avoid this, please let me know. But once my text was the right size, I went up to the Adjustments tab and chose Liquify. I used the Push tool. I set the size to 78%, and the pressure to 48%, but I left the other settings alone. Definitely feel free to play around with it to find what settings that you like. Basically, the gist of this is that you're going to be pulling one side of the text down and pushing the other side up to create this wave effect. I stretched out the letters on the upper left and bottom right corners so that the text was still in sort of like a rectangle shape, but obviously that's optional. If the letters aren't quite stretched out the way that you want them to be, you can add a new layer and use the monoline brush to fill in any areas that need it. If you want to add images to your design, find an image that's a PNG, add a new layer, click the wrench, insert a photo, and resize it. You can go back and erase the text layer if you need to. Hide the layers that you don't need by unchecking these boxes. Then go over to the wrench tool, click Share, PNG, and save it where you want it. I airdropped my designs to my computer. Open up Cricut Design Space, go to the Upload tab, and drag in your image. I chose Simple, clicked Continue, clicked Preview Cut Image, made sure everything looked good, then clicked Apply and Continue. I saved it as a cut image and clicked Upload. Then I selected it and clicked Add to Canvas. For some reason, this ended up being a gigantic, so I resized the image to fit my project. Now that we have the basic images done, what you make with it's up to you. One of the projects that I made was this hoodie. For this project, I used this blue hoodie from Amazon and some white Smart Iron-On from Cricut. I measured my sweatshirt to see how big that I wanted the image to be, created a new project in Design Space, went back to the Upload tab, and selected my image. I clicked Add to Canvas and resized it so that it would fit on my sweatshirt. After resizing it, I saw that I had this yellow triangle, which means that my image is too big to cut all at once. To fix that, I duplicated my image. I dragged the second image to the right, then I selected the first image, then clicked Contour. I clicked the letters for the word Easy to hide it. As you can see, now the yellow triangle's gone and the design can be cut out. For the duplicated image, I selected it, clicked Contour, and hid everything except for the word Easy. Again, as you can see, the yellow triangle disappeared and we're good to go. When you're ready to cut your project, click Make It. Since I'm using Smart Iron-On, I chose Without Matte, Continue, and made sure to mirror my design. This step is super important when you're using Iron-On. I chose my material, which was Smart Iron-On, and loaded it into my machine. Smart materials are awesome for larger projects like this. It saves you so much time because you don't have to keep cutting your materials down and sticking them on a mat. After everything was cut out, I used my Cricut weeding tool to remove the parts of the design that I didn't need. If you have any extra smart vinyl pieces that are less than 6 inches, don't worry because you can still use them. You just stick them onto a mat like you would with regular iron-on. I like to use a lint roller to make sure that there isn't any cat hair or anything on my shirt before I iron on my design. To make sure that the design isn't covered by the hood, I measured 8 inches from the top of the sweatshirt. I used a ruler to make sure that my design was as centered as possible, then ironed it on with my Cricut Easy Press too. The great thing about the Easy Press is that you can use Cricut's heat guide on their website to figure out what settings you'll need. Since my sweatshirt is a cotton poly blend and I used Smart Iron-On, I needed to press it for 30 seconds on the front and 15 seconds on the back at 315 degrees. I let it cool, peeled off the plastic, and that was it. So here's how my finished sweatshirt turned out. I love this style. I think that it's so cute for summer. One of my friends has one of these that says "Wish You Were Here" on the back, and I think that that would be so cute to like take on vacation, so you could take some cute vacation pictures. If you don't want to use iron-on, you can also try making a stencil with freezer paper. I decided to decorate this tote bag using some freezer paper, a 12 by 24 inch light grip matte, acrylic paint, and fabric medium. First, stick your freezer paper on your mat with the shiny side down. I measured my tote bag, then used the Shapes tool in Cricut Design Space to create a rectangle that was the size of my bag. If you want to make a rectangle, make sure to click the unlock button that's up here, then enter your measurements. I went back to the Upload tab, chose my image, clicked Add to Canvas, and shrunk it down to fit. I deleted the rectangle, then clicked Make It. This time, we're going to need to click On Mat. Search all materials, and search for the freezer paper setting. Load the mat into your machine, and when you're done, you should have something that looks like this. Carefully peel the freezer paper off of your mat, and cut off any excess. I used a regular household iron on the cotton setting to iron my freezer paper onto my tote bag, going over each section for about 5 to 10 seconds. Since this was a slightly more complicated design, I had to go back and add a few details to the middle of the letters and to the smiley face. After my freezer paper was ironed on, I mixed up my paint. You could probably just use acrylic paint on its own, but I decided to mix mine with some fabric medium to help it hold up a little bit better in case I ever need to wash it. You just mix 2 parts of acrylic paint with 1 part fabric medium, and then you have fabric paint. Before painting the tote bag, make sure to put a few pieces of paper or something inside so that the paint doesn't bleed through. To fill in the stencil, use a sponge brush to dab the paint on like this. This will make sure that the paint doesn't get under the stencil. I sort of just placed the colors randomly and hoped for the best. The freezer paper method is nice if you want a specific color that you can't find in vinyl, or if you want to do something like this with a whole bunch of different colors. After the paint dries, go ahead and peel off the stencil. Since this design was a little bit more complicated, there were a few spots that I needed to touch up with a small paintbrush. Honestly, I don't love the yellow. I think it's a little bit too close to the color of the bag. You really could not tell that this was a smiley face at all, so I went back in with some blue paint and I filled in the eyes and the mouth and outlined it to try to make it stand out. After everything dried, I set the paint with my iron. Just follow the instructions on whatever paint or fabric medium that you use. And here's how my finished tote bag turned out. I love this technique. Freezer paper is awesome because it's a super inexpensive way to make stencils like this, and it's so much easier than trying to paint something freehand. You know what I just thought of? You could probably do this on a canvas too. Or throw pillows, that would be cute. So that was everything for this video. I'll have the images that I used for these projects linked in the description. I actually ended up making 5 more designs, which you can find on my Patreon if you don't feel like making your own. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Again, a huge thank you to Cricut for sponsoring this video. My merch, my website, and all my social media will be linked down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye!